So choose blocks. What are choose blocks? This is again another feature dictionary to extend the functionality of ESM-Tools. And basically they are what in programming languages are known as selector case or switch statements. So for example, in Fortran, we have this syntax. In Bash, we have this other syntax. MATLAB, it's actually called switch. You will probably hear me most of the time talking about them as switches because in the past I've done quite some MATLAB. But in ESM-Tools, this is the syntax. So you see it's kind of similar, but what you have typically is switch command. In this case, is called choose. And then you have a selector variable that you are checking, and you are checking for it to have different variables, which are different values, which are cases, right? And once this variable matches one of the cases, whatever is inside the case, that's this executed or read. And that's also the case for ESM-Tools. So what's the purpose of this? Well, as a user, you are not probably gonna be writing your choose blocks in the run script, but you want to be able to know what are the selector variables to trigger the different chooses. Because the purpose of the choose themselves is an abstraction. So basically, what you are putting inside a case is a big set of configurations that have a meaning. So for example, scenario. My scenario is gonna be pre-industrial control, is gonna be SSP. A single scenario needs a lot of changes, needs that you change the input files that you are taking for your experiment, and it changes the name in which you select the different years for that, the way in which you do output, and all these things have a meaning, which is the meaning of, okay, is it PI control, it is SSP. So if you put all the configurations under a single case, then you can trigger all these changes through that case. So, for example, here in FESOM 2.1 YAML, we have a choose case for the variable ICP code. And this is the configuration file, and it's checking, okay, if it's true, if the value of ICP code is true, I'm gonna add namelist changes to activate icebergs inside FESOM 2.1. Okay, so this is what we've seen before, just with the add here. So we are complementarily adding information to the namelist changes defined by default in the root of the FESOM 2.1 YAML. And all these namelist changes mean one single thing, and is activate icebergs for FESOM 2.1. How do you trigger that from your run script? Well, again, you have to kind of reverse engineer, and you say, okay, I'm gonna look at my FESOM component, and I'm gonna see what variable I'm checking for the choose, and we see, okay, the variable is ICP code. So you can go into your run script, and inside FESOM, you can set ICP code true. As default, inside the FESOM 2.1 YAML is defined as false, and then you are rewriting that with your run script to be true. You will be activating all this whole thing and putting all these namelist changes into your namelist. Okay, so we can go a little bit more to the advanced syntax. So if you want to have kind of an else statement, you can write these two columns, and you can put an asterisk here, and this is if none of the cases are, if the selector variable doesn't meet any of the cases, then it's gonna run whatever you put under this else command.
Like in Fortran syntax, it would be the case default. I'll let that end.
And another thing for the advanced use is that you can actually call variables from other sections and indented dictionaries by separating the paths with a dot. So in the same way you will call a variable with the curly braces, and then you will specify the section and the different path to the variable through the nested dictionary separated by dots. You do exactly the same with the choose blocks. So that's it, and you guys can start with the exercise of the choose blocks.